All right guys, welcome back to the shack. Since Comgrow has finally released the 20 watt module and my videos out there, I've had a few people ask me some questions and about some different, issues that they think may develop from the module and how well it performs here and there. And so in tonight's video, one thing I want to cover is some of those questions that I've had and a few of the answers that I have came up with from my experience with the module for the past 2 weeks. And the second part is going to be, we're going to have a little race between the Ortur with the Comgrow 20 watt module and the XTool D1. A little head-to-head action to see who's faster. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. I do want to answer some of the questions that I've got from several people in relations to the Comgrow 20 watt module. The most common question is, with the Z1 chassis, are the limit switches able to be moved to accommodate the larger size? And the answer, from the best that I can tell, is there is really no easy way to move those limit switches currently. Now, from looking at them, it wouldn't take much to build and design an adapter to move them out to where that you could, but that would need to be something that would be cut out of either acrylic or some type of plastic material, or maybe 3D printed, but you could actually move those limit switches out by using a little, changing out the brackets on them. It would just require a little bit of work, a little bit of ingenuity to do so. But I did find that if you turn the homing completely off and you set the machine up to operate from the perspective of current position, the 20 watt module works fine. You've just got to make sure to compress your workspace slightly. With the Ortur, I compressed mine down. I took 20 millimeters off of each side, each axis, and I've been running it that way to avoid hitting the edges and causing any issues with the burns. So if you do put this module on, just remember you're going to lose a little bit of your workspace compared to the module that you took off, because it will strike the corners earlier because it is so much bigger. So that's two workarounds that you can use to help accommodate whatever machine you decide to put this on. I chose to put mine on the Ortur, and the reason I did is because I wanted the Ortur to be able to cut and do things a little faster, because as my work here in the shack evolves and get more workload and more stuff coming in, I'm getting to where the 20 watts is a big help because I can get jobs done a lot faster. So it brought up the question, which is faster, XTool D1 Pro 20 watt or my Ortur LM3 with the added 20 watt module from Comgrow? And so tonight, to settle that question, I have set up a burn, and I have an engrave that is going to be cut out, and then I have a box that is going to be cut out. Both machines have the exact same file. I built the file, saved it, opened it in 2 different instances of Lightburn, and I've got it set up for both machines. And we're going to run this burn file and just see who wins, the time. Both machines are 20 watts. As long as they both engrave it, as long as they both cut it out, then it comes down to a tiebreaker being time. So this is what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to sit down and explain to you how I got things set up, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, both of these machines operate slightly different based on the home location. The XTool, the home location is in the back left. The Comgrow / Ortur is in the front left. So there's going to be some differences in where they go and what they do based on those settings. But they're both running exactly the same file. There's going to be a box file that is one of my little boxes I use for storage and stuff. And I also have a logo that I've put in each machine, and both files are identical, same settings, same shapes, same power output, everything. Now, because I suspect the Ortur is going to win this thing, I'm going to let the XTool go first. The only way I could come up with, guys, to try to make this fair is I've got my 2 instances of Lightburn pulled up, and I've got them shrank to the point where I can have 2 on the screen at the same time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to frame with both machines. I'm going to go ahead and let them frame their jobs out. That way, after framing, that wherever they land, that is where we're going to start this job. So that's kind of taking a little more variable out of it. Now, I don't currently have the Comgrow add-on powered up for the 20 watts, so I'm going to power that up. It's going to get a little noisy because that thing is kind of loud. It sounds a lot like the XTool, but it does it all the time, as opposed to the XTool only turns the fan on when it's operating. The Comgrow, the fan stays on the entire time. That may come out, in a firmware update or something to change that, but for now, that's the way it works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my glasses on here, guys. I'm gonna start the XTool, and as soon as I hit the button for the XTool, just like I did with the frame, I'm gonna hit the button for the LM3, and we're gonna get this race going. In 3, 2, 1, go. All right, they're both off. Let's see how this happens, see how this works. I'm gonna be running full air with both machines. Both machines are off to the races. So just to keep this honest and nobody accuse me of cheating, I'm gonna let the camera just kind of observe and see how things go. All right, both machines are working on the Clack Shack logo right now. This logo is being ran at 100 millimeters per second at 100% output. And then once they do the engrave, both machines should cut that logo out into the circle around it. That cut is at 6 millimeters a second at 100% output. And then it's off to the box cut, which the box cut is a line file only. There is no engrave on it. It's simply to cut out one of my little storage boxes. As you can see, the LM3 does some fancy footwork when it comes to how it moves. It moves really slow, really smooth. Even with the added weight from the Comgrow, I was a little worried that the added weight was going to cause issues, but this machine is still really, really smooth. For the engrave, like I said, I do have the air assist running for both machines. That way they can have the most cutting potential. As you can see, my vacuum table does a much better job than my secondary enclosure as far as air smoke extraction, but I have a new fan coming for my secondary. I'm going to try a different 4-inch fan just for you guys that have asked me about the better fans. I've got one coming that I'm going to be testing out, and I'm going to be replacing the one that I've got in there now. It worked okay until I put the 20 watt in there. The 20 watt just generates so much more smoke that that fan just don't seem to be able to keep up. All right, so the Ortur has finished the saw blade on my logo and is now working on the top portion. The XTool D1 is just now getting to the teeth on the saw blade. So there is a little bit of an advantage on this side over here, guys. I'll be glad when the acorns quit falling. All right, the Ortur in Comgrow head is now finishing up on the logo and going to the cut. The D1 is still working on the top half of the logo. But yeah, this Comgrow head, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is kind of like if you could only pick one wrench, would it be a 1/2 inch wrench or would it be a crescent wrench? Because I like the fact that this thing is designed to work with, 3 different manufacturer machines, and with a little engineering, to be honest with you, you can make it work with many, many more. So I think that makes it pretty cool. All right, so Comgrow Ortur tag team over here has moved on to the box. The XTool D1 is still trying to finish the top of the logo. It hasn't cut the logo out yet. Now keep in mind, guys, I'm running the exact same settings in these machines. I know from using my 20 for, well, ever since they came out, I know that this is a setting that I need to be able to cut this material and get it done. This machine actually will cut a little, I can run the speed a little higher and still cut this material, but I wanted to basically just show the difference, because people have asked me, you know, the difference between the D1 Pro 20 watt and the setup that I have with the Ortur married up with the Comgrow 20 watt module. And that's the biggest difference that I can say, guys, is the speed that this thing operates. Now it's not a, you know, it's not a lot, but it is noticeable when you're doing jobs. The D1 has cut one of the handles out for the box, and looks like it's going to the other side to cut the other handle. It's about 2 cuts behind the Ortur right now and Comgrow head. This is 4.5 millimeter material, guys. This is Luan, sheet Luan that I cut up and cut it down to size to use for this. All right, the Ortur Comgrow has finished one end of the box and has moved on to the middle section. All right, guys, as you saw in the video, the Ortur Comgrow hybrid has successfully beaten the XTool D1 Pro 20 watt by a little over a full minute. I think it was like 1:04, or give or take. But that's running the exact same file, exact same settings. I mean, it was a tough race, but as far as speed, the Ortur with the Comgrow head has successfully dethroned the XTool D1 as being the fastest machine in my shop when it comes to the diodes. So we're going to move over. I'm going to look at the work product of the two machines and kind of compare that, because it's not always just about speed. It's about how well the machine does, as well as far as cutting, as well as engraving. All right, so let's see how well the XTool D1 did at cutting them out. All right. All right, so everything fell with just a simple tap. Got the two little pieces here are still kind of hanging in there a little bit. So I'm just going to show you the cut. That's the cut. Now this is using my shop air, guys. I mean, I'm using a good bit of air pressure, and this is a little bad spot on the wood, so we're not going to count that. That wood had that little piece, so that's like a patch, I guess, where they made the wood. So we're gonna not count that against the XTool. But you can see the patch cut out. It's got a few little sticky pieces here. Nothing too terrible. No guarantees that it isn't due for a good lens cleaning. So we're not gonna be critical about that. But it successfully cut all of the pieces out to decent tolerances. All my little parts of the box fell freely. I did have a few little snags here, but it could have been a bow in the wood, or you know, could just be needing to clean a little bit. And as you can see, the detail, the fine line, you know, good detail on the engrave. It does have a little bit of blackening because of the air assist, but I run air assist all the time. I hit this with a little bit of sandpaper, that goes away, everything looks great. So the results, I'm gonna call that good. Let's move over and check the Ortur and Comgrow hybrid here, see how it did. All right, same burn, same exact file, and let's see how the pieces come out. All right, same situation with the cut on the circle there. I'm starting to think that maybe that's the wood. Had a little issue there, so that very well could be that spot on this wood on both pieces. Not sure, but it did have a few little snags. The engrave, it's a little deeper. I don't know if you can tell that or not by looking at it. This one's a little deeper than the other one, but both of them have good detail. So all the pieces came out cleanly. I'm going to show you the cuts on this guy. I mean, everything fell good. No major problems with any of that. It all fell clean. So both machines, as far as cutting capabilities, as you can see with this design, both of them kind of had a little issue in the same place, which is that that engrave. It could have something to do with the way I had that file set up, but it was still set to run the same power as the other cuts. So I'm not sure why specifically the logo gave them issues, but you know, it happens. All right, so here's the two logos side by side. The one on the left is the XTool D1. The one on the right is the Ortur Comgrow hybrid. You can tell that because it had a few more little snags than the D1 did. So I'm going to hit both of those with some sandpaper and see what they look like. I'm going to try to keep them situated to where I know which one's which. All right, guys. So here's the two different logos. Same type of material, pretty sure it came off the same sheet. They both had little struggles right here, and I think part of what the problem was is a void in that piece of plywood. I don't see those a lot, but I'm guessing this piece of plywood, that's why it had that patch and everything. But so that could have contributed to the whole issue that we were having with it not cutting all the way through. But work product wise, as you can see, I mean, they're very, very close. I don't know, it's wood, so you can't say for sure if one's a little crisper than the other, because wood does change depending on the location on the material. So, but both of them are about the same. The Comgrow appears to have went a little deeper. I mean, not much, but just a little bit deeper. All right, guys, I just wanted to make another video. The video that I had released on the install and putting together of the Comgrow 20 watt. That was the day that I got the thing. That was the very first day of using it. Since then, I've had about 2 weeks to kind of play around with the machine and get to know it a little better and get to use it a little more. And like I said, so far for a 20 watt module, it's performing as expected. I mean, you can see the module itself is neck to neck with my D1 Pro. Now, the Ortur, because of the way that it moves and it navigates from cut to cut a little faster, it does lend it a little an advantage when it comes to doing jobs, because it goes from point A to point B a lot faster. During the engrave process, it does things a little differently, which makes it engrave faster. I like my D1. I do. I like my 20 watt Pro. I've had good luck with it. It has been a great machine. And I like the Comgrow 20 watt module. The thing that kind of excels with the Comgrow is I can put it on multiple machines. And so far I haven't found out anything really terrible about it. The only thing that I will say is the way the module is shaped, where the metal comes all the way down to the end of the nozzle. The distance from the nozzle to the material is not quite as much as I would like for it to be. It seems a little closer to the material. It concerns me sometimes that it might hit, but I have found that you can actually cheat up a little bit on the focus, and it doesn't have a whole lot of effect on the engrave. The little leg that folds down on the Comgrow is significantly shorter than the one on the D1. So if that's something, if you do a lot with really warped up wood, that could be a potential problem for you. So watch out for that. But as long as you stick with flat wood, it hasn't given me any trouble so far. If you already have a machine, or let's say if you have a machine and the module is a 5 watt, and you don't want to go buy a whole new machine, I mean, this it could be a viable option for you. I'm sure Ortur is going to release their own 20 watt module before long, and if they do, then I may have to take this module and put it somewhere else if I decide to put one of those on here. But the fact that it fits multiple machines, that's a big deal for me. And some of you guys that like to build your own machines and kind of engineer them from scratch, this would actually be a good option for one of those, because you get the inner workings of the module. You just need to provide it a chassis to move it from point A to point B. But with that said, guys, I haven't had any major complaints out of the module. It performs as well as it's supposed to. It's built well. The interchangeability is a really cool function of this module, and it's just been a blast so far. So if you're thinking about getting one, I hope that helps. All right, guys, I hope the video was helpful, informative, or entertaining, whatever you come here looking for. And I hope the information helps you guys that are trying to decide on what to do, what toys to add next to your toy box. But it's a decent module. You know, no complaints, no big complaints so far. And you know, I'm gonna keep testing it, keep looking at it, and I'll update you if anything comes up. But until next time, guys, as always, be safe and have a good day.